What's up, guys? My name is Shreyas, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button. And also, I would like to welcome you to the Wisdom Diet podcast. And this is the third episode of our podcast. And today's guest is Tejaswini Pandit. Tejaswini Pandit is an IFBB Pro that I've known for a long time, but we never got a chance to catch up. But now that I've started this series, I can invite people that I really want to talk to, and she was one of them. And I invited her. It was great talking to her, and you guys will definitely enjoy it, especially if you are interested in the whole bodybuilding side of fitness and the journey from beginner to reaching or getting your pro card, right? And there were a lot of things we discussed, tips for women, even men, and general fitness, but mainly we discussed her journey from being a beginner who just like lifting weights to reaching the absolute top, that is becoming an IFB Pro, which a lot of people dream of, and the positives and negatives of that journey and everything. So I hope you guys enjoy it. And again, guys, thanks for the support. The podcast viewership has been great, and there's something that you can help me with as well. Like if you are at a office and you maybe don't have time to watch it right now, just play the video in a new tab. I'm pretty sure that's not banned or anything, so that definitely helps with the longer form of videos reaching to more people. The watch time increases, and that definitely helps. So maybe there is someone who will benefit from that, right? So thanks a lot, guys. I'll see you soon with other videos as well, but I hope you enjoy. There are chapters, which means you can pick and choose which part of the video that you would like to watch as well. So if you don't like to watch the intro, just start the podcast right away, right? So that is how it works. I hope that helps you guys as well. So thanks a lot. Enjoy the podcast. All right, guys. So first of all, I want to start by thanking Tejaswini Pandit, and it's great because we've been following each other for a long time without any interaction as such. But recently, I had a plan of starting a different channel in my local language here, and I thought she can come on as a guest. But then, that didn't pan out well for me because I was not that comfortable. But I thought, why not call her and introduce you guys to her? So here she is, uh, IFBB Pro Tej Pandit. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited
Yeah, me
for
too,
this
me too,
one.
me
Yeah.
too, me too. So, like, I think 8 years back, I had a female guest on my channel, Sharon Strong. So that was the first ever interaction with any female on the channel, and now here you are, 8 years, 10 years later. Actually, I think 8 years later. So thank you. And
Wow.
first, I've explained people kind of what you do, but I want you to tell how it all began, why fitness, especially when you started fitness in India, especially for women, it was not that crazy, right? So how did it start for you, and let us know your journey from the beginning to all the way to being an IFB Pro.
Okay. Yeah. It's not a very long story, but I'll go with it. So I started training when I was 13 years old. That was the first time I saw a gym. I've been a fat kid, so I wanted to lose weight, and that's when I decided, okay, we need to do something about it. I come from a family of doctors. My parents are doctors, so uh, eating healthy and being active were always enforced. But some people have that tendency to be chubby and be fat, uh, despite despite being active. Because I think as you grow up is when your body like develops, and then you kind of your physique changes into what it is, right? So I but obviously you want to get ahead of yourself at that age, and you want to be skinny or thin or whatever. And that's where it all started. My mom used to work out around that same time, and she had like a drastic transformation where she lost around 20 to 25 kgs of her post pregnancy weight.
Okay.
Okay, so when after losing the weight, she would be able to fit into my clothes.
Okay. Okay.
And that for me was really I would say something that was very shocking, because I just felt that if my mom can fit into my clothes, and when I grow up, what is going to happen to me, sort of. It had nothing to do with my mom, but then there was a sort of a realization that that kind of kicked in at that point in time. And then I realized, enough is enough. Now it's time to really do something about this. And my grandmom and I, we were just taking a walk, and then we saw one of those local gyms with those with the old school kind of equipment.
Yeah,
So
metallic,
we just
metallic,
walked.
metallic
Metallic,
equipment.
metallic, no AC, and the old generation of machines,
No chappals,
like
no
the
shoes, nothing.
yeah, and that's the straight lying down leg curl,
Ha
the
ha ha.
absolute
Ha.
earlier one. So
Understood.
so all of those. So we had to convince them to allow me to work out. And I think they had some age cut off and this and that, and they were like, nothing doing, like, please try
How
this,
old
that.
are you when
And
this was happening?
I was 13.
Okay, 13.
I was 13.
Okay.
So then one thing led to another, and I finally started going to the gym. So at that time, I was fairly an active kid. So I used to also play tennis. I used to go for dance classes. I was into classical dance at the time. I'm a South Indian, so it's like part of our DNA. We have to do it. So we did that. So I used to do whatever I had for the day. So I had dance class on alternate days, tennis class on alternate days, and after finishing the class, I would go to the gym and then come back. So since that age, I've been kind of coming home by 9:30, 10. And my mom was okay with it, because I always she knew what I was doing. So luckily or otherwise, I think that way my mom really encouraged me. So it went on pretty all right. Okay. And so obviously, you can't really keep up. It's very hard to learn to keep up with your schoolwork and doing your extracurricular stuff, and balancing all of that. So I was quite a good student, so I had really no issues there. But it went on for a bit, and around 10th standard happens, and then 12th standard happens. So I had a few breaks, I would say. But working out was something that I was continuously pursuing. So there was no it had become part of, like, my routine. Yeah, it didn't need any additional thought,
Understood.
right? Then when I was in class 11, I had a lot of time to myself. And that is when I realized, okay, uh, let's just let's see. My mom had actually suggested the same thing. So she said, why don't you be a trainer? So I said, I didn't know much about it at that time, and I was still not where I was. At that point, I wasn't where I wanted to be in terms of how my physique looked. So I said, we'll think about it. And then I realized I would need more time. So I decided to take up a course in personal training and kind of get certified, like get the first level of certification out of the way. So once I did that, is when I started learning more about how to lift weights and how to get strong, because everything else was about being taught by somebody, and I was still young. So even at that age, I just wanted to get stronger and get better. So I didn't have too much of a focus on everything else. It was just about taking one day at a time. Now, once this thing happened, right, once I was certified, I realized that I'm still not strong enough to practice as a trainer or to do anything on the floor, because uh, I realized I didn't have the courage to help someone, or make them feel that they can trust me. So, and I was very clear that if I were to stand on the floor as a trainer, uh, I should be able to help both men and women. Now, guys, of course, lift a lot heavier on an average. So I realized that if I cannot help a guy lift or assist him, or make him feel safe, there's no use of me being a trainer, because then technically I'm not really doing my job. So it was sort of a reality check at that point, for me to leave that and just go back to what I had to do, and went back into it. Then I don't know if you remember this, Shreyas, the first Body Power Expo.
2015?
Yeah. So the first I think around then I was in Bombay. So I
Okay.
decided to go and drop by at this expo. Okay. And a lot of people, a few people who I knew in the industry were also there. And what happened was there was this powerlifting kind of an event happening there
I think I
at the
remember this.
expo.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the expo. And somebody said, why don't you just compete? Okay. And I wasn't even dressed according to the event or anything. I was just wearing like a pair of leggings and like a casual top. And they said, why don't you? And I didn't have any wraps, straps, belt, nothing. Okay. I just went for it and I won the whole thing.
Was it like did you like kind of lift more than certain guys also?
Uh, yes, I think
How much did
so,
you
but
lift? What do you remember your numbers
not really. But I remember my deadlift number was close to like 125
in
at that
kgs?
point. Yeah. And that
And
time I
how
was
how
what,
old are you?
around 17, 18?
Yeah, wow, that is at 17, 18. I was not even in the gym. I was not
Yeah,
in the gym inside. That's really great. That's
yeah.
that's
So that's what happened, right? So I stopped worrying about what I looked like because I could see the weights and the strength going up. So yeah. So after I won this, I was like, okay, fine, this was easy, but next time I think I should prepare and come. So that's where the whole powerlifting thing started. And then when I got into powerlifting, doing more local competitions and things like that, then after some time I realized, enough of this. Now I need to see my abs. Why am I not able to see my abs after so many years of lifting? And that is when I thought, I should try this out, because just around the same time was when Deepika won her pro card. So Deepika Chaudhary, she had won her pro card. So I looked at her and I'm like, wow, that is crazy, because she didn't have the bikini look. She had a little more muscle, but not too much to be in women's physique. So I realized that this is the look that I would be very comfortable carrying, for the foreseeable future. So that is what kind of drew me into this. But it was a very simple thing. I just wanted to see my abs, that's all. Because it just felt like, like you have this one body, like before you die, you want to see it.
Yeah,
That kind of a
definitely,
thing.
definitely. That is same thing happened to me also. It all started with the normal thing, you have to go to the gym, lift weights, and get healthy. But after you start getting little better, right, and that confidence comes, you want to take it to the next level. You want to feel like you want to reach the end game, right? End game is usually like abs, right? You get shredded and you see your abs, and everyone wants to see it once at least in their life. And I've seen it. Like after that, it's a different story, but. Yeah, so keep going. I would love to know what happened after or in the process of getting abs.
Okay. So see, as a fat kid, I think you also, I don't know, but you've been really skinny, I think, no,
No,
throughout.
no, I
So
started off as very fat, obese, like for my
okay.
age.
Okay, great. So you understand.
Yeah, I definitely
So
understand.
so it's sort of like you're trying to fight your body type. It's sort of, it's like an internal battle that is going on. And like, why me? Why am I fat? Why can't I see my abs when everyone else can see? So it had become more of that. Okay. It sort of turns into like you thinking that you don't have the genetics, but you are completely blindsided to the fact that the amount of strength you're able to gain, the amount of muscle you're able to preserve, in itself is a genetic gift which
Correct,
we have.
correct. Definitely,
Because
definitely.
carrying that extra body weight would need more muscle as
Correct,
well.
correct.
So
Yeah,
so yeah,
definitely.
I think it took me some time to really understand my strengths and then go ahead. So with bodybuilding, the thing was at that point, right? Competitions for women were mainly confined to bikini and then bodybuilding. So the one category where I wanted to compete was not coming to India,
It was figure, right?
but it was figure.
Okay.
Now what happened was the thing is that since that competition wasn't going to be held in India, I had to go outside to compete. Okay, this was the initial plan, that I will go to NPC and do a show there. Now in the middle of all this, I ended up having this horrible leg injury where I ended up breaking my femur into three pieces.
Oh, How did that happen?
Okay. It happened at the gym, but not while lifting weights.
Oh,
So,
okay,
and
okay.
it's not something that can happen to everyone. So I just want to make it very clear that if you were in my position, this could have probably not happened to you. It was probably an underlying condition which kind of got aggravated at that particular point. So um yeah, so I was actually at my leanest and at my strongest. I was probably what, I was around 20, I was around 21, I think. I was around, yeah, around 21 years old, 21, 22, and I was already deadlifting 145. So 3 plates, and I'm still like around the same weight. I don't just go crazy anymore, but yeah,
So
there I was.
if I'm not wrong, you started this whole gym thing when you were like what, 13, 14,
Yeah, 13,
13.
13.
So it's been what, uh,
More than 10
14
years.
years, 14 years almost, right?
Thanks, now they know my
Oh,
age.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I hope that's fine. I'm just giving people a what do you call, an idea of, this thing is not a short game. It's a long game, right? You need to. We'll discuss about that later regarding longevity and everything. But yeah, so you started when you're 13. That is, at least for Indian standards, that's crazy, right? I mean, when you're 13, my parents would only let me play cricket or football or something. Gym was dur ki baat, like gym, your height goes down and all that bullshit, right? So for me, it was that situation, and I only started going to the gym because, like I said, it was my blood report, my cholesterol was high, and there was, like you said, a local gym with like all this Hanuman's photo and all that, like
yeah.
that kind of, no shoes allowed and all that. And definitely, that was similar, but I started at a later age and I never did heavy weights. I was told to do light weights because I was fat, right? You do light weights to lose fat. Apparently, I was told not to train my chest, and I did all that. This whole channel is because of that, because I was fucked over. That is why
Yeah.
was like, okay, let me at least tell people what to do and what not to do. But yeah, so you said you didn't have any shows here. So can you just explain? I know the difference, but can you just explain the difference between a bikini and figure? Like clothing is almost the same, if I'm not wrong.
Almost. So bikini is a lower, first of all, bikini requires lesser muscle. Okay. The areas of focus when it comes to bikini are mainly shoulders, glutes, hamstrings.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
And obviously having a small waist, and then the way you pose, right? Because you don't need to move your hair from your back. So you don't have to show them your back muscles. Your glute ham tie-ins, and your just shape around the quadricep, just tight waistline, and sort of shaped shoulders. But nowadays girls are coming in really hard, so I would debate that. um, when it comes to figure, it is more of symmetry, proportions,
Men's
of course all
physique kind of a
categories,
thing, right?
sort of, but with legs.
With like, oh, that's. I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of men's physique
No.
aspirants over here might have, need some
Guys,
Bernol. I need to send them Bernol.
guys, take it with a pinch of salt,
Salt. Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
yeah, but these girls, or figure girls, I can tell you, have some seriously good legs. Okay. I mean, but yeah, basically what happens in figures, you can't really hide, because you have a straight on front pose where your feet are also facing the front, and you
I'll
have
display
quarter turns.
pictures
So
on the screen so that people can understand. Right.
sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, because this is the only category in bodybuild, in the entirety of bodybuilding, where you cannot cover up your flaws, because when you stand dead on straight, right, you cannot cover up any asymmetry, you cannot cover up any minor flaws here and there. Like you can maybe adjust for like lack of proportion, or maybe something you want to enhance, what do you call, you want to draw the judge's attention to a particular
Illusion,
body part.
illusion. Kind of give an illusion that you're showing your
Yeah.
better parts to hide the worst parts, right? So
Right.
pose in a
That's,
certain way, all that happens.
yeah. Very little of that is possible. So you can, I mean, when you go through the posing, you'll kind of understand that. But in terms of muscularity, it's a lot more than bikini. You need to show your entire back, and you need to be way more conditioned and more muscular.
There's this crazy
Basically, that's the
picture
goal.
of you where you're like standing in a room. I think, contest day or something, like you're showing your back. So
Mm,
I think you remember that picture, right? It's on your Instagram.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
seeing that picture. So the thing is, how much did you weigh in that? If I'm allowed to ask, how much did you weigh, and what was your like height? Like, I mean, what's your how tall were you, and how much did you weigh in that?
Okay. I'm actually quite heavy, so I wouldn't use what I am saying as a way to benchmark other competitors. But I was 59 kgs, around 58, 59 kgs, which is quite heavy. On an average, girls who look like I looked would weigh around 54, 50, 52 to 54.
Okay, okay, nice, nice, nice. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you
And
did
I'm
have
five
good
five.
muscle also. Okay, 5'5", 59". Yeah, but I think you did have good quality. Like you said, you've been training for a long time, right? So that definitely helped you. So let's talk about your first show. Okay, now we were in the abs part, right? So when did you first see your abs?
I think I first saw my actually entire midsection and everything carved out was when I really prepped for the last show. But my first show was in October 2017.
Okay, okay, October 27. What show was that?
It was the Sheru Classic, not the pro qualifier. It was just the first time figure had come to India as a category. And luckily or otherwise, because I got injured, I didn't have to spend and go abroad. Once I recovered and I rehabbed, the competition came to India. So I like when they say everything happens for the best. When I was bedridden, I never thought that it was anything for the best. I used to cry every single day. But now when I think of how much money I saved in the whole process, I'm extremely happy.
Definitely, definitely. And did you like lose a lot of progress over that time, or like did you like and how did you come back from that? Because this muscle memory thing is a huge thing. How did does it work differently for women or like compared to men? Like for me, right, I have not been training for consistently for 2 years. Like my body is like every day, right? Like it's like crazy. Like I'm losing weight, but not that much. But my physique, right? My face, like you said last time, face
Yeah.
looks different, right? So that is the thing for men. I don't know how it worked for you. So when you're injured, what happened? Like did you gain fat? Like you said, you in terms of your genetically speaking, you are slightly on the gain fat easily kind of a thing, right? So how what happened with you there?
Initially, I realized that my weight was going down. Okay, the first 2 3, at least I think around the first month post surgery. So this was a proper surgery where they had to put a rod and everything. If you want those pictures, they're a little scary, so
No,
if
no,
you want to show
definitely.
them,
We are we
you
are
can.
we are full. We are completely non uncensored. So definitely we'll,
Uncensored. Yeah.
yeah, we'll
Yeah.
definitely go for that.
So what happened was, so because it was a proper surgery, which they had basically they've cut me around near the hip and above the knee, and there's a rod and there are two screws at the top, two screws at the bottom. There's no issue at either of the joints. So it was in the shaft of the femur, shaft in the sense the middle portion of the bone. Okay. Now the rehab took me a while. Initially, I lost some weight. So that was around, I think I lost around 3 kgs. Okay. And then that is when I slowly started to panic. Okay, am I losing muscle? And obviously, like, I can't walk, but I really care about am I losing muscle. So that's like the mindset of someone who's like into this. uh, then what happened was I was talking to, in fact, I you had Aman on the channel, right? So I was actually training with Aman around the same time, and I spoke to Aman and he's like, Tej, you need to stop worrying about this. You need to just eat, and you need to de-stress, you need to chill and forget about the gym. Just do things that you enjoy. If you want to eat something, just go ahead and enjoy, because you need to find other ways of kind of being happy. And that's where, my conversation, uh, that's where he left me with this whole thought. And then I realized, okay, I think, yeah, at the moment what he's saying is hard, but it makes sense. So I started reading more. I started distracting myself from the entirety of the fitness world. Of course, people were very supportive and helpful and all of that, but I needed to kind of switch off for some time. So I was eating a bit, but I was very deconditioned because I couldn't train. When they say, like, okay, your leg is injured, so do upper body and this and that. Like, it was really hard for me to get my parents to also, uh, believe in me that okay, I know what I'm doing, because it was so traumatizing. The whole injury was so devastating for me as well as my family, that it was very difficult. I almost thought that they don't even trust me anymore. you know Almost like I did this to myself, sort of. And of course, you have people in the gym saying a lot of things about you which are obviously not true, but they're experts at it. Ye leti thi, wo leti thi, isliye hua this and that and the other. And I was an absolute natural until at least around that time. So there was no question of what I was doing, or what I wasn't even taking any supplements, which I now in retrospect should have taken something.
Correct, correct, correct.
you know
Understood,
no, but
understood.
my protein intake was fairly good, so I was very confident. But yeah, in terms of bone density is where a lot of speculation that maybe my bone density was a little low, and that is what led to the fracture to start with. Um, so like I said, I lost weight and then I started gaining weight because of lack of activity, as well as of course you're eating and you're not walking, right? A normal person can at least walk around in the house. It was basically lockdown for me, what all of us have gone through, right, in March of 2020.
Yeah, definitely. It was crazy. I remember still. I still remember that.
So that's exactly what I went through. I gained a lot of weight in the process. And then there was a time where I got back and I started training upper body. Then it was very easy. As you said, body responds really fast. Muscle memory is a thing. Of course, losing fat has always been a weak point for our body. But I had an added problem that I was not allowed to do cardio because of my weight bearing difference, and on the weaker side, so I couldn't run or anything. The minute I was cleared to walk is when I started walking to do cardio. Because you need to realize one thing: so if you have an injury and you jump in, right, you have already caused so much imbalance, and there are certain tissues which are compromised in strength, and certain ranges of motion which are compromised, that if you suddenly do something, you're going to make it even worse. Because like right now, I don't have to live with any after effects of that injury, because I had strengthened it separately. And the other huge problem with figure, like I said, you need to pose dead on front, and my one leg had become like, and it was scary for me to watch. Like, I can you imagine like looking at yourself and like one leg is normal ish and the other leg has atrophied so
Yeah,
much.
probably looked like it was photoshopped, right?
Yeah,
Made small.
it was very scary.
Yeah,
I was in almost like I was in denial. ठीक है, हो जाएगा, and it never happened. But I think I, as soon as I started realizing that, okay, you know what, this is some, this is just a challenge, and you need to work on it. And obviously the usual stuff, doing unilateral work, working on the quadricep, hamstring, strengthening, just fundamentals, nothing over the top, nothing extraordinary, no additional variations and things like that. I think that was good enough to just bring back the size, because
yeah.
if you look
So,
at my pictures,
sorry.
you can't really tell.
Yeah, before you continue, I have a question regarding that. Now, a lot of people, one of the most asked questions is this. One side is stronger than the other, right? So there will always be a little bit of imbalance no matter what you do. But like you said, yours was to such an extent that you had to kind of, you know, do double. So my question would be, so let's say someone has a 2 inch difference in their either side. So you of course said that unilateral movement, but what about the other side which is already good? So what did you do for that? Did you like train more or less, or did more reps on the weaker side compared to the, because even I have that doubt, like of course I have not struggled with imbalances that much, but definitely when people ask me that question regarding imbalance, what would I say? What would the answer be? So you're directly talking to people. It's the same for everyone. Of course, yours was a crazy imbalance, but of course the training methods would be the same. So what did you do for that?
So in terms of, see, at the end of the day, uh, you need to work according to your weak part, the weaker side. So whichever part is smaller and or weaker, you use that as your benchmark to start with. So don't use a 10 rep max weight according to the strength of your stronger side, right? Your weaker side is your priority, so you will treat it like it's important to you.
Okay. Treat
The
the treat both
stronger,
the sides as weak. That's what you are saying, right?
no, I'm saying give the weaker side more importance and
Okay.
choose the weight according to the weaker side,
Okay.
because
Okay.
your stronger side is anyway stronger, right?
Strong. Correct. 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 Correct.
So what I would do is, even if you want to do extra reps or extra sets on the weaker side, I don't change the weight for the other side. You prioritize the weaker side, start with it, give it extra rest. When you're doing the weaker side, give it extra rest. Make sure you're going through different ways of training, like increasing time under tension, or isometric in eccentric. I think that has really helped as well. For me, I would say, in terms of just practical application standpoint, also, if you have a range restriction, you work within your pain-free range of motion. So wherever it's not hurting, try to load that part. But it's the key is to not get too far ahead of yourself and don't think like a power lifter, because just lifting heavy is not going to be enough. You need to focus, especially on the weaker side. A little more emphasis on mind muscle connection can go a really long way. Although, yes, it is debatable what is more important, progressive overload or mind muscle connection, and so on and so forth. But end of the day, if you can establish some mind muscle connection, eventually you're going to get stronger, right?
Correct. That's what I made a
Especially on
video.
the weak side.
Yeah, regarding this, right? Yesterday, I uploaded a video. It's good that you brought up this point. I mentioned that if you tried everything, right? Let's say you tried lifting heavy, like people, especially for most people, their weaker parts would be like arms or calves or hamstrings and all those muscles that we don't are not fancy muscles usually, but they are fancy muscles. But hamstrings, calves, no, I mean, let's be honest, nobody cares that much, right? Especially people who are not into bodybuilding. So I tell people, if you are tried everything, you do all those heavy dumbbell curls, you do barbell curls, and if it's not working, it's probably because you're not putting your muscle under the right amount of tension, right? We all know progressive overload, all that, but muscles are trained on eccentric and contraction, right? If you're not doing that, then in the right way, then definitely. So I told people, if your biceps are weak, probably try cables. It allows you to put tension, properly, more than dumbbells, because with dumbbells we do heavy and we do all this
Yeah, I think
jerking,
yeah,
right?
the
So
the technique matters, how strict you execute. Because what happens is, just lifting is not enough. No, how you lift is important.
correct, especially when it's not deadlift. Even with deadlift, right? Unless you're doing your 1 rep max or 2 rep max, you should be lifting with proper form, right? Some people, they do five by fives, and their form is like back is rounding like this for every rep. So right, when we watch, it hurts, right? So that's what I'm telling people. The maximum amount of muscle and strength will be gained by those people who first perfect all the basics, like your form and building up the volume slowly. If you suddenly go and do 10 sets of deadlift or 5 sets of deadlifts, you're not going to grow like that, because your body is not built currently. Your body is not built to do that much of work. So build up slowly. If you're a beginner or like coming back to fitness, I've been training for 10 years, but look at the type of workouts that I'm doing. I'm just coming back. I'm still, I'm not yet there. So I'm not doing heavy deadlifts or all that. I just need to build up the lost time, right? So keep all the Instagram selfies and all, you can do it later, but first, build your, because fitness time is very limited, right? You have that first few years where you can build crazy amount of muscle, and if you lose that, after that your body is like, you don't respect me enough, I don't respect you, I don't give you the respect back. So yeah, that okay. Now coming back to the IFBB thing, we are in the process now, right? So your injury, okay, let's say you got came back. So what was the next step you took? So how did you decide, okay, I'm confident enough to step on that stage? So Sheru Classic, right?
One message to all of you: if you want to compete, you're never going to be confident, you're never going to be ready, but you just got to do it
Yeah,
once.
yeah, yeah. just
Because
just do
why
it.
I'm why I'm saying this is because at that time, uh, I got to know of this competition 7 weeks before the competition happened. 7 weeks for a woman to prep is impossible. impossible for anyone. Okay, so that, but what happened was, because it was coming to India for the first time, I had to convince my coach. I was like, you know what, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. You want me to do 5 hours of cardio, I'll do it, but like, let me just go for this, because this is like right here, like in my country, like I don't have to go anywhere for it. Like, at least let me go into it and give it a shot. And she was on board, but then, once she said yes, right? And then I was like, oh my God, we're doing this.
It hit you. It hit you
It
straight in the
hits you
face.
like a
Yeah.
rock. It hits you,
Yeah.
yeah. It was crazy. But yeah, the good part, or in bad part in whatever ways, I didn't have enough time. So there was no time for all this to sink in. By then, all this had happened. Everything was done by the time it all hit me. But yeah, the first experience was really difficult, because for someone who does not who can't get lean that easily, that was my only challenge, to get lean, because I had the muscle, you know so it was quite a lot of work, I would say. As I got to the end of it, I think I was doing 45 minutes of weight training and close to 3 hours of cardio a day.
Wow. And what was your caloric intake?
I don't even remember it. It wasn't very low though, but I think it was around 1200, 1100, 1200 calories.
Yeah, you're probably burning, like creating a huge deficit, right? By then.
Huge, huge, huge.
Yeah.
And then also, peak week, a lot of things change. So that last week also, uh, the deficit really goes up. In the last 2 weeks, your deficit actually increases, because this we're not talking about the one where I turned pro, right? Where I said we should be ready 3 weeks before. This we were pulling through till the last second, last day. It was crazy. Um, this in this show, I placed third
Okay. Okay.
in
So
my
Sheru
first
Classic, if
ever.
I'm not wrong, it's like universal, right? People from other countries also come and compete, right? If I'm not wrong.
At that time, yes, yes. At that time, this show was, I think, only for Indians. Or
Okay.
or I didn't. There was no foreigners in that lineup. That's
Okay.
what I
Okay.
remember.
Okay. So you came third and you were 19, 18, 19.
No, no, I was not 19. I had to recover from the injury. No.
Oh yeah. So how, yeah. So that I forgot to ask that question. How long did it take you for that from that?
So it took me. So since when I after getting injured, it was 1 year of entire rest and chilling and whatever, and plus another 1.5 years for rehab and everything, and strengthening and bringing the size back up and losing the fat. So
Understood.
it was about, so by the time I was getting ready to get into prep, I was looking like a normal person, as in like a normal person who lifts weight. So like the effects of the injury, I had kind of zeroed it. I was at a good place, and the fat gain had come down. Like I had kind of developed a normal body fat percent, and then it was from there to stretch it. So it was plus or minus 2.5 years since then. So I was around 22, 23 when this happened.
Wow, that's still. I mean, a lot of people. I'm sure you also get messages like this injury thing, right? A lot of people go through accidents, and but the thing is, after that, like how important is the right kind of guidance for rehabilitation? Like, I'm pretty sure it was like very important, right?
It was, and I wouldn't say I was very lucky or very privileged to get the right kind, because I feel like I made some mistakes and then I learned along the way as well. Because I have other issues also, in terms of like I am flat-footed, which and plus squatting and deadlifting heavy needs a next level awareness. How your joints are aligned, and uh, how you distribute your weight and things like that. And for someone who's really young, it's a little hard to kind of put your mind to these things. So what happened was, because of that, my left hip uh, was very compromised, especially when it comes to internal rotation. Because see, just strengthening quads and hamstring and calves wasn't enough, because that is just you thinking like a bodybuilder, right? That this is small, so let's make it big. But when it comes to functionality and moving, and let's say weight bearing on one foot, or like maybe hopping on one leg, these are the things we should be able to do even after we recover from an injury. because only then you know that your entire rehabilitation process has been completed, and then you can move on. So it takes time to understand where the compromise is. So I would say I made a few mistakes, but I found more and more people into this who are more educated. But I would say if you run into a situation like this, go to a sports physiotherapist, because they know how to coach athletes to return to their sport.
Correct. That's why they're
So they're
specialists,
not.
right? They like don't
Yeah.
message people on like people like me. Don't message us and
Yeah.
ask regarding injuries, because injuries you need to first see it and feel it, right? Those people have to see it and feel it, like what's wrong. Like like chiropractors, right? They put their finger and they have to feel it, where the thing might have gone wrong, right? So that is what I'm telling guys. The biggest advice, first advice would be, don't think that it's impossible to come back. People go through injuries, but always know that there's light at the end of the tunnel. You just have to spend that extra time working on yourself, rehabilitating, and you will learn so much. I'm pretty sure you learn so much about the human body, right? By then, through the whole process, that now if and you'll also learn to respect this whole gym thing. You'll be extra careful. I don't know how careful you are these days, but definitely you are. That now, key form and everything. If you'll definitely tell other people at least, right? Key focus on your form, like you told earlier. Form and everything, that is more important, and for the long game. Like she's been doing for 14 years, I've been doing for what, 10 years. Like long game, staying injury free, it means you'll build more muscle in the long term. Definitely, if you build all the muscle, then get injured, and then because of your own mistake, and then you don't know what to do, you lose all the muscle, and it'll be a repeating cycle. Okay, so that show you came third, right? So what after that, what was going through your mind? I'm pretty sure you are happy, right?
Yeah, yeah, I was very happy. Because I had no expectations from this one. Because in fact, the first time I had worn a bikini at the show was the first time I was wearing it in my whole life. I am not someone who wears a sports bra and goes to the gym to work out, because in my head I'm thinking, how do girls do it? Don't they stick to the bench? you know so that's where I come from. I am that way. I have a very conservative sense of style also. So I am not somebody who would go to even a beach in a bikini, because that's just not me. I have nothing against people who do it, but when I had to wear a bikini and stand backstage, I was like, oh my god, this is something I have not experienced in my whole life. I truly felt naked.
Same, same,
For the
same happened to me also. Like it's like, like 10 to 50 men standing right there, next to me, and it's like it was kind of weird, because like we had to wear these kind of underwear kind of a
trunk.
thing, right?
Yeah,
Trunks, yeah,
yeah.
trunks, the fancy word, right? And it was kind of weird, and there were even some people, they would come to me and they'll be like, like this, they'll do this and all, they'll touch and say. It was one of the weirdest experience. Then standing in front of like 500, that show was actually the show I did. It was like as many people that would be in Sheruklas, all the local people would come, like people who don't know what's happening, they'll just come and see, like,
Yeah.
it was like lights on the body, just standing like this, and everyone's like, I'm like this, like this. And the worst thing was, I was wearing these gods, like these religious people wear, right?
Mhm.
I was wearing that, and they got so angry. This all these IBFF people or someone, they called me in front, and they're shouting in their Malayalam, you don't have manners, no this, no. I didn't know all that. No, like I'm a noob, like in the bodybuilding scene. They're telling me take it
Right.
in front of all those people. It was so embarrassing. My experience was good, but it was very embarrassing standing in a trunk and posing in front of people. So that my wish was fulfilled, but after that, I was like, okay, done. So yeah, I understand exactly what you're trying to say. So,
Yeah.
so you're
So
like, even if you're ripped, right? Even if you're in the perfect shape, you're not the kind of person who would be like showing off all the time, right? That's what you mean.
no, because I never did this for that to start with. It was only for myself. So I really didn't care about all this, honestly. And even when I did so after this, what happened was I realized that, okay, I didn't give my best shot. for this show. I mean, I did the best that I could have done in the time that I had, but I felt that if I had more time, I would have done better. So, so that's when I went on to compete in the Sheru Classic Ludhiana stage, which was in Feb 2018, just 2-3 months later, I think, because I felt like that goal was good enough to keep me motivated, so that I don't like just let go after the competition. You know how that is,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Oh my God, that's the worst. The rebound effect of dieting, right? That's the especially that back in the days when people didn't know much about reverse dieting and all that. Holy shit! I had 1 kg, like the biggest cake possible after my show, and I remember from next day I went to school, college. It was I would eat everything. So definitely. But you had then 3 months. 3 months is good time, right? Because you're already in decent shape, right? So yeah,
I was
continue.
in decent shape, so I felt like that was a good point to start prep, like which is how I should have started the previous prep. But it's a long process, it's an iterative process, and you need to hold on to that condition and then continue, right? Because it was the first time. Because people need to understand one thing, that if your body has carried excess body fat for about 20 years, which is basically around 85 to 90% of your existence at that point, that it is not going to let go of it just like that, right? It's going to take, see, one is getting to a lower body fat percent. The second is for your body to remember what it feels like to be at that low body fat. Because like right now I can maintain my body composition only because it knows for long enough what it's like to be leaner. And this entire process takes a lot of time that people seem to just discount,
Hmm, hmm,
which is
definitely.
what I've noticed even amongst our clients, right?
Definitely, definitely. Time is
Because
something that I wish more people understood the importance of, because like it's so like crazy that people don't understand. And of course people on social media are to blame for that, because we kind of give unrealistic expectations. But the time thing, the first thing I always tell people is, when they send me their pictures and they want to transform key, it will take this much time at least for you to see visible changes. It doesn't mean that body is not changing, it's just that visually to see that it takes some time, especially with the building muscle. With fat loss, if you're overweight and you lose like 5 kgs, your body will look, because with fat, right, it's like takes more space to like if you lose 1 kg of
occupies
fat,
most.
yeah, it occupies more surface area. So your shirt becomes loose and all that. But with muscle building, it takes a lot of time. And with, like she said, with her, she also has to maintain that whatever muscle she has, as she goes deeper and deeper and deeper into the contest prep. So yeah, so what happened with that prep? Was it very grueling like the old one, or was it
No, absolutely not. I think the first one was the absolute worst because I had the least amount of time. Because then I realized with every consequent prep that the longer you have, the better it is. Although this approach does not work for everyone, and this is an approach I definitely suggest that all women should take, because I know that guys prep in a much shorter time frame, but women need a lot of time. They just do, you know because because when you think that you're ready, right, and you don't have time, that means that you have at least 8 to 10 more weeks left to go. you know you, because you think that in this much time you will be at a certain place, but you're about halfway there, that's all.
I know. That is one thing. I mean, with the in terms of bodybuilding, I don't know how men do it, but with this whole client training thing, right? Like training normal people. I recently trained a client who cut for 9 months and he lost 10 kgs. Okay, just 10 kgs. But the thing is, I to be really honest, I like to train people like that. And for the simple reason is, it is more sustainable, I feel, if you cut like that also. Like, you won't rebound as bad, because most people, they, for them, it's like they're starving their body so much. If they do it like a 3 month, that after that 3 months they're like, I'm done with this, let me just do. And your body will also eat up everything, right? So for women, I definitely agree that you should take longer to, not just contest thing. Like, normally also women should take more time, and it is going to take more time, because that's how our body is built, internally. So definitely. So yeah, go on.
See, I feel as the time passes, right? Let's say you give it 6 months. Your client, whose example you have discussed, in 6 to 9 months, is enough time for him to learn new habits and incorporate that, right? Because it is the good habits that will keep you lean. That's what people don't realize, that getting lean does not assure you that you will stay lean, but it's the good habits that you learn in the process that you learn to make part of your lifestyle. And this takes forever to kind of understand, but
Yeah, and the
yeah,
main
I think
thing for
better.
me is muscle. Like I am very what do you call, very particular about maintaining muscle while losing weight, because I'm pretty sure, even though you say, like you said, you are genetically, like kind of gifted in terms of muscle building, but also fat gaining as well. Similar to me, I'm also in that way. I'm muscle building wise, I'm fine, but even little bit here and there fat comes into the body, right? So
Of course.
what I would suggest people is this. I always tell people, if you have a wedding, don't start 3 months before. Start little earlier, so that you don't have to rush and rush and rush, right? So always, if you think you need 3 months, you need probably 5 months to reach your end goal. So think like that and go. Like, you maintain more muscle, and building muscle is like, it's not easy as you think. Initially everyone gains muscle, but after that it gets hard. So don't lose your hard earned muscle. So yeah, let's step on stage right now. What happened there?
There, so the next show, I was significantly leaner than the previous one. So I think my first competition, I was 65 on stage, and I can tell you I didn't look bad. At
Okay, okay.
65 kgs is heavy of it's heavy for a girl, but I could see the that I carried enough muscle, and I had the shape and the structure and everything going for me. I think this show, I was around I think 62, I think 61, 62. I'm not sure, but yes. And in this show I placed second.
Okay, we are getting there.
Yeah, yeah, we're getting there. So this show I placed second, and then from here, this was Feb 2018, and then the show where I turned pro happened in July of 2018. So
Yeah,
that's another
so
5 months
4 months,
from
yeah,
here.
5 months from then, yeah.
4 5 months from there.
Okay.
So from there, holding on till July, that was something, you know.
So weren't you like kind of mentally drained through this whole two competitions? Because usually competitions, people think that you're just putting in the physical effort, but the tiredness mentally also can take a toll. So what did you do between that pre-pro show and
Hmm, hmm.
the main event, right? So did you take a break for a while, or you just continued?
I did take a break. Yes, I did. There was a point. So I never ever did that much cardio ever again after that first show. Okay. And I realized I knew this, that I didn't want to do it to myself again, because I know what it feels like. You just come home to sleep. And guys, that's not the only thing I was doing. First of all, I had a job and I had a life. I was paying for my everything. I was living outside of home, cooking my own food, and all of that put together, the stress just goes through the roof. But anyway, when I decided, I think I would say what kept me really motivated was the fact that I was insanely driven to turn pro. It's something that I can't explain.
I
I
know,
I
definitely.
find
It's
it
a,
hard.
you can't explain your
Yeah.
goal. You can't explain your goal to other people, because it's
No,
just
like I
yours.
I can't explain what kept me going. That's what
Okay,
I'm saying. That
okay.
like I don't like, because I turned pro what 3 years back, and I haven't competed since, I think. And uh, the but I still can't explain what got into me at that point, that I was just so charged. Like sometimes I wonder if I can bring that drive back again or no or not. That is how crazy I had turned. But of course I needed a break, definitely, in terms of especially the physical aspect, because of all the training and the cardio, and plus the dieting as well. So we dieted back to maintenance for some time and cut back on the cardio. So I think there was a phase where I wasn't all where I was doing probably 20 minutes of cardio a day. and it came back down to 5 days a week. And it was really a relaxed kind of a setup for, I would say, till about 20 weeks before the show. So this was probably for another 3 to 4 weeks. And then as I got into the zone, obviously 20 weeks is not going to get crazy. It starts slow only. But as it goes like 16, 12 weeks, and then the countdown starts, right? Then it
Yeah.
gets a little mad.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, so yeah, so I think by then, like the first show is always the show where you kind of do all this crazy shit, right? Because you probably start late, prepping late for the show, or you kind of don't know much about how your body works, till then. Even probably for your coach as well, right? It's kind of the first time experience for them with you. So the more you do, the you just get better. So definitely, you how confident were you, going into this show? Were you like, this is mine, I'm definitely, I'm good enough, did you have that self belief, were you like
Yeah.
looking at the outside competition that you have, and or something like that? Did you like uh, kind of, you go through that, right, where you're, I'm looking at
On
that person, was that
Yeah.
happening?
On the day of the show, was I confident that I would win? Probably not. I was not 100% sure because of certain things that happened and certain people who basically they crossed over to two categories. And at that state of mind where I was also sort of dieted, my brain was not able to process what is happening. Like I was not able to process whether I'm winning or I'm not winning. So obviously at that point you're not able to calculate that, because I was going through some own crap of my own on that day, because there was a prejudging and then finals, and you need to be ready for both the days. And I come in the day of my finals and I can't find my heels. And as and I was like, I was prepared that okay, chalo, worst case scenario, let's do women's physique, because you don't need shoes for that. Like I had completely gone bonkers at that point. So I didn't think about who was doing what. But when I prepped, I was extremely confident, and I went for a posing session. I met Deepika, and she's like, Tej, like she did that to me, and I was like, oh my god. I was like, this is going to be amazing. And after I won also, Deepika told me that irrespective of what the lineup would have been, you would have taken it. uh, that's how that was our discussion. But I think yeah, before the show, the thing is I had never seen myself that lean, right? So I had that gave me a lot of confidence that I can do it. But obviously you never know until you see who else is there, right?
Yeah,
Because
but
everyone's
you
working hard.
think, according to you, you were in the best shape possible for that you could have achieved, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Definitely, yeah. At the end of the day, like, I mean, I know it's a cliche to say that, I'm just I don't care about the opponents. I'm just focusing on myself. But that is actually what happens in the prep. That is the only thing you can control, right? You do the best possible things, the right things, and just rest properly between the workouts and everything, and that's all. If there's a guy who is or a girl who is, just been training for 10 years more than you, or something like that can happen, right? But at least you know that, okay, I don't have any regrets. I was completely dedicated. I did everything my coach asked to. I did all the cardio. I did not skip a meal. I did not eat extra, everything like that. So that pro I mean, it's hard to explain, but how did it feel like, and how did your family feel about it, and how did your friends feel about it? What was the whole reaction? I'm pretty sure, I mean, like you said, your mom wanted you to kind of become a trainer, right? So it started off like that, but you ended up doing something. I'm pretty sure in India, even till today, I being an IFBB pro, it's still a big deal, right? So you did it like in 2018. So how was that? How did it feel?
It was crazy, and I couldn't contain the excitement and the happiness, because I felt like it was something that I had been working for, and it actually happened. Because the first time I met Deepika, she actually, I was around 17, 18, I think I was around no, around 18, 19 years old when I first met her, and I told her that this is my goal. And she said, why don't you write it down on a piece of paper? And she said, so, and then I wrote that I want to be an IFBB figure pro. That's what I wrote, and I had written it on my wall in my college as well. And I just like inside my room. And that is something that I wanted. I don't know why. I still don't understand. But it was just, I just felt like that was sort of like a calling or something that
Yeah,
I feel like
definitely.
I had to, I feel like I had to clear this level in my life in order to unlock the next level. I don't know where it comes from.
Yeah, I mean I mean that's I don't know how it works either, but it just like they say stars align and all that shit. Now definitely
Yeah,
that must be something like that, right? So definitely
right.
you became an IFBB Pro, and I mean yeah, like I said, how did everyone react? Everyone else react to that?
So, right. The thing is, actually, this part I have not covered, but my father never knew that I was competing in bodybuilding. Because I was staying away from home, I didn't have to tell anyone anything. So I used to do all this on my own because I realized that until I am pro, anyway, there's nothing to talk about this. Like, it's not an achievement to come second or third or whatever, because I just felt like, pro card was the ultimate thing to say that this is what I have done. So I did not tell anyone. My mom knew, sort of, but I didn't tell too many people. I just went with it, and I realized that after winning, it's better to discuss it with everyone. My dad was incredibly proud of me, and he was very happy. So that ended pretty well. That is what gave me sort of the license to be able to tell my parents that, okay, you know what? Now I want to make a switch to the fitness industry, because obviously at that time there wasn't enough going on in the fitness industry to really be able to make a career and to sell it to your parents, right? When I started, what, even 8-10 years back, it was very hard. So for me I felt like this was a way for me to actually switch and be make a name for myself in fitness, because that is something I have anyway been into for a while.
Yeah, so you
So
basically had it's like this whole getting this IFBB Pro thing. It kind of put made you credible in front of your parents. This she has a ability to get into this field, right? So that gives them the
right.
confidence. So yeah, like this is again like since we already finished talking regarding the IFBB thing that you achieved, you became an IFBB Pro, and like you said, you haven't done a pro show since then because of travel and this and everything, right? But what I want to ask you, like honestly, like I don't think we discussed this earlier, but like, can a person, like just a normal guy, he starts working out, he starts enjoying a guy or a girl, okay, it doesn't matter, can they, like, how high can they dream in terms of going to the absolute top in terms of becoming not just an IFBB pro bodybuilder, but making just a bodybuilding his whole career and whole life? Like, how high can someone dream? A regular person who doesn't know much about his genetics, how blessed he is, he's just going to the gym today for the first time. He starts looking around, someone motivates him in the gym, he's like, I want to become like him. But then he sees that it's not that easy. But how high can someone dream? Because a lot of bodybuilders, a lot of people want to become bodybuilders. So how high is it realistic? How high is
That's
realistic?
that's a tough one, because once you get into the mindset of being an athlete, right, you just want to be the best, and you want to win, and you want to win all the time and all of that. It becomes really hard to have someone sit you down and say, you know what, get real with this, and let's think about it in an intelligent way. Because what I've what I've seen is that people are just mad passionate about it without any direction. you know Passion is a good thing, but you need genetics and you need the money. If you don't have passion, genetics, and money, it's very hard to make it in almost any sport, especially if it is a non-funded, non-Olympic sport. And we need to get really real with this. Okay, because even I can tell you one thing, that even when I pursued it, I had the passion and perhaps I had the genetics, but money was a huge problem for me. But of course, it's not about breaking the bank to be able to compete, but there are smarter ways in which you can accommodate it. Had it not worked out, I would probably not be doing this. I still have an email that I had written to my coach saying that, coach, if you think that I am not cut out for this, please tell me today. I will save my time and I will leave. I will leave like nothing ever happened. Because sometimes you need to swallow a bitter pill. Like after my injury, I felt like I could anyway take on anything. So I'm like, okay, this will be just one more thing on the way, right? But sometimes your ego needs to be put aside and you need to really kind of face the reality as to whether you can make it or not. Now, when will you find out is when you give the sport enough time, right? When you give this enough time to realize whether you can do it or you don't have what it takes. See, you just because someone told you, it doesn't mean you're going to be successful, because you need to compete 2-3 times and then see where it's going. Because initially, if I started placing pretty early and people started telling me that, you know what, you have the shape, just come in leaner. When you get this kind of feedback, you feel like you're like right there. You just need to work a little bit more. Now, if you look like a fridge, just don't get into the sport. Just as at 4 feet, you cannot be a basketball player at an NBA level. So there is no harm in accepting this fact. Like for instance, I stopped powerlifting competitively because I knew I'm heavy, and pound for pound, I will be weaker than my fellow lifters. Now, I know this truth, but if I keep pushing it, I might get injured because I'm just trying to chase numbers, 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 and I start obsessing. But it took me a while to face the reality that I am heavy. This is a numbers game. It's not working for me. So I went to a sport where numbers don't matter. I went to a sport such as bodybuilding where no one's going to ask you how much you weigh when you're on stage. It was something for my mental peace that I did it. Now, if you are spending years together, if you've spent more than 2-3 years into this and you're not seeing any success, just save your money, save your time, feed your family, and go do something else.
Yeah, but yeah, correct. I definitely, agree with you, and I wanted this to come from someone who has been there and done that, right? If I say this, people will be
Absolutely.
like, yeah, you don't understand or this thing and that thing. But one more thing I would like to tell you is, like, remember guys, this fitness, like I predicted in 2014, I think, when I told people that, I made a video where I said I'm leaving the college and I'm getting into this field. Like for you, how IFBB Pro was a thing, right? For me, my bank statement was a thing. Like I had to show my parents that for 1 year, it is sustainable. It is a sustainable income and all that. So then, they let me. So what I'm telling is, like she said, do a couple of shows, because initially, you'll see the level where you are at compared to the next 10 guys or girls, right? If you feel that this is not giving me enough benefits for the amount of time I'm putting, money I'm spending on food, supplements, and even enhancements, right? If it doesn't work out, just look into the wider spectrum. Like this fitness is a huge, like a huge bubble. There's enough space for everyone, right? So just don't think that bodybuilding is the only thing that you can be successful at in the fitness industry. A lot of bodybuilders these days, they just compete maybe because of the fun part, and they're also good, but most of the income and most of the success they have is just not just from bodybuilding. It's just from their physique, that which probably sells, but at the same time they are having other streams of businesses, and that is why you see only a few bodybuilders that are really successful in terms of the fitness industry. Others might have great physiques, but unfortunately there are a lot of people. That is why this whole, when COVID thing came, a lot of the fitness industry was affected in that way. A lot of fitness bodybuilders who were only in action when the shows came up, like they were hyped up only when the shows were there. There were not many shows, right? So it kind of affected them in a long way. But for me, like she said, if you feel that you are not cut out in terms of reaching the highest level in India, maybe like it's Mr. India, but in the bodybuilding world, if it's IFBB Pro level, it's not easy. You need to first lift for a long time. Okay, that is the first thing. You can't just lift for 3 years and expect to become an IFBB Pro. That's not going to happen. you need to spend a lot of money on food, supplements, and also enhancements and all that. So, and you need good guidance. Like how important is, like, guidance to become a top level bodybuilder. You can't just take training from a Insta model and just go to the top level, right?
It's crazy, yeah. You need a mentor and a coach who understands two things. One is your body and understands the category in which you need to be competing in, and try to see where you fit in the best, right? Because what tends to happen is it's almost like, you are being, if you're in the wrong category, there is nothing worse than that, because you're amazing, you can be great, but you're in an environment where you are not able to thrive. I've said this to so many people, and that's when women's wellness came up. So many girls switched to wellness, and they were happier people, because they were having a tough time sizing their legs down for bikini. They were having tough time putting muscle on for figure, and wellness came, and it was perfect. So if you feel that, see, you need to have a coach who understands where your body really fits. When you
True.
have that, they can give you the shortcut. A good coach can short circuit your path. And that is the most important, right? We are there so that you guys don't make the same mistakes that we made,
Yeah, more than
right?
diet and workout, right? Like diet and workout can be written by anyone, but taking the person, on the right path, telling him your body is like this, you maybe don't have to do this, you need to do this. Like, maybe fat loss currently with the amount of muscle you have might not be the best thing for you. Just focus on staying lean and, putting on some muscle mass, like something like that, because in the long term it can save them a lot of time, a lot of pressure and everything. So not just in terms of fitness or body, not just in terms of bodybuilding at the highest level, even in the simplest basic level, you need to make sure that you're on the right path early, and and if there is someone that can help you, it's even better, because once they tell you all those things in the future, when you don't have them, you become atmanirbhar, right? You become self you become
Self-dependent.
yeah, right. You don't have to depend on anyone. So, like, before we end, right, I want to now, since you have more information about a woman's body than me, and I've definitely, you have trained more and you have met more women than me, so I would like to ask you, uh, what are those, let's say, top 5 myths, when it comes to women, like women and fitness. Like, what would you say, what you have encountered? Maybe you have done some things wrong, which you might change, not in terms of bodybuilding or competing, just general fitness, and you come across a lot. I'm pretty sure you come across a lot. So what would be that, those 5? You can take your time, think, no problem. So
Okay.
yeah, just think about
I
what.
think the first one is the fact that the first one that straight away comes to mind is that women need to train differently, train or eat differently than men. Okay. Of course, eat can be a little debatable, but especially when it comes to training, you need to train as hard as a guy. There is really no shortcut here, because training needs to be tough, and your tough and somebody else's tough can be different, but you need to push yourself,
You don't have
right?
to intentionally lift light weights, right? That's what you're saying.
Yeah, like we say, their handbags weigh more than the weights they lift.
Yeah, correct. Definitely, that
Yeah.
is one thing. And like regarding that, if you are scared that you look like ending up, you'll end up looking like a man. That's never going to happen. You don't have enough testosterone in your body to make you look like that. But at the same time, a human muscle, the function of the muscles are the same for women and men, right? So you don't have to do some special exercises standing on a medicine ball or something like that. I've seen some crazy exercises that women are told to do, because I don't know why it is, but you don't have to train. You can lift heavy that your body allows, as heavy as your body allows you to, and you are going to kind of burn calories when you're working out, and you will end up eventually losing fat, and you will kind of grow a roots of muscles. You won't grow like crazy amount of muscle. You'll grow roots of muscle. Your butt, which female women are more, glutes, which women are more, uh, most women are interested in that, right? Like to build that, and that all that will come. Like there are women that can hip thrust way more than men. Like
Yeah, I just did 405.
yeah, that 405 is like 180
I just
something.
today.
Yeah, 180 kgs, right? I'll never be able to do that, right? For me, right, that it kind of weirds me out when I do that exercise, because people don't know why I'm doing that, right? That movement.
Yeah.
So people kind of give me weird looks in the gym. So I've never gotten into doing a hip thrust. But yeah, that is the first thing. So what would be another thing? Just give me another thing.
Yeah. Another thing is, a lot of women have approached me to kind of manipulate the size of their breasts.
Okay,
Okay.
so that's
Like
something
they
new for
want,
me.
if it is small, they want to make it big. If it's big, they want to make it small. If it's, they want it to like be in a certain position where they want it to be like perky and all of that, right? You can't really change that. At the end of the day, that is genetic. Okay. If you eat at a deficit, and if you're on a fat loss plan and you are losing your breast tissue, you're losing, sorry, if you're losing fat from your breast, now no one can help you, because you, if you want to have lean legs but you still want to have a full chest, that's not happening for most people unless you have the right genetics, right? Especially if you're if you're thinking about competing, be fully prepared for this, that you're going to be
Yeah.
completely flat, and you need to make peace with that, because if you want to lose fat, it's all fat, it's going to go.
Yeah, yeah. The
Okay.
more you lose, the more fat you lose, the, like you said, the flatter it is going to be. But at the same time, I would also add one point to that is, uh, if you put on little bit more muscle in your body, little bit, not like huge, but little bit, half an inch here and there, you will look much more leaner as well. Like the more muscle you carry,
Absolutely.
the more leaner you will look. So focus on, like she said in the first point, focus on lifting weights. Don't be worried that you will grow. The only good thing that can happen by lifting weights for women is your body will look much more toned. Okay, the right parts, if I'm allowed to say, would look, make it look like your body is in good shape. Even if you gain little bit width on your shoulders, it's fine. It will make everything look narrower in the uh, what do you call this
Waste
thing,
and
waist area. Okay, and fat loss, don't focus on, if you're just a normal person who wants to lose weight, not compete or anything, just lose weight. It will happen, but don't. One thing I've noticed with the women mostly is I think they have a lot of female friends, so they talk a lot about their appearance and all that. So they kind of tend to be susceptible to all these unfortunate things that happen in the fitness industry, like taking these pills and those pills, which might not actually be diet pills. They might be something else inside. I've had so many stories where they're given clen and this and all that. So just kind of, I'm not saying accept whatever is, if you feel that you need to lose fat, there's nothing wrong with it. One of the other things of accepting yourself is to accept that it is not correct to be where you are right now, because it is not a healthy or too healthy for you. So there's nothing wrong in accepting that you have to lose weight. But when you lose weight, be patient, just enjoy the process, and like she said, lift heavy, and lift as heavy as possible. Don't intentionally lift light. Okay, if the weight you're lifting is lighter than your handbag, then definitely you're doing something wrong. So that is definitely, I did not think a lot about that, about the breast thing. With men, it is mostly, like shape their biceps, get peak on their biceps and all that. But that is something that I never thought about. That definitely is, so you're saying that even if they build chest, it can't make it look
no, I bench very heavy. Okay. Like I've naturally had like I have I think I told you this, right? The first time at the gym when I was benching 70, 80 pound dumbbells. And yeah. So it's not, I bench very heavy. My pec is developed, very well developed, but it's not going to do much in the way of the fat. Okay. A lot of these Instagram models that these women are going by are all people who have implants. Okay. And a lot of competitors do have implants. I choose not to have them. That is my personal decision. But a lot of them do have implants. Now, if you're going to compare yourself to somebody who has had plastic surgery onto them, uh, we have a problem. We have a problem, you know? Uh, Yeah. The next thing that comes to mind is training around your menstrual cycle,
Oh yeah, like
around
I'm
your
interested
period.
on that. Like I actually, I had a female client who messaged me yesterday that she can't train, and I didn't know what I know. It is okay to, train in a slightly different way, but I didn't know how to say it. So what do you think about that? Like tell me, interested.
I have met women with a variety of problems related to their menstrual cycle. Now, for me, it's not a big deal, personally speaking, because I've been doing this for very long. So it's almost like, okay, fine, if you're not able to push, then just lift lighter, but go with it. But if someone is having very painful cramps, especially on the second and third day, I feel if they feel that they need to take one day off, one of those days, or even both the days off, it really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, right? It's just 1 or 2 extra days in a month, provided they're being consistent throughout. That being said, the more you train around your menstrual cycle and during your cycle, your body gets more and more used to it, and it doesn't really affect you as much. I feel over time, I feel like uh, broadly the side effects are under control. But of course, like people who have PCOS, PCOD, who have irregular periods and who have very heavy blood flow or too much cramps and all of that, and it's irregular, those people can definitely benefit from taking some time off if needed. It's a very individual thing. So on a case to case basis, you can think about
Yeah.
how you can help the individual.
Yeah, and what about the diet? Do they like have to make any? Let's say they are on a fat loss phase, okay, and they're eating like 1,500 calories just to be approximate. So what do they have to uh, make any changes, or just leave it like that, or cut down food because they feel that they're bloated and something like that, right? Because they're like not exercising, so they might be bloated. So what do you think of that?
So it's sort of a double whammy kind of situation where you are bloated, but you also have cravings. Okay, so I would say that don't entirely quit training, like not go to the gym. I would say do cardio if you can't do weight training, do upper body if you can't do lower body, but get into the habit of doing something. It doesn't matter, life goes on, right? If you are in too much pain, I completely understand, and your coach definitely will understand, but this should not be a routine affair, right? you know but that being said, when now the best approach I have seen is you do some form of carb cycling, where you can cycle the calories and keep them a little higher during this time. And obviously I suggest that people go by, don't eat if you're feeling too bloated or if you're not hungry. Not the reverse, like not just eat because you're hungry, but if you feel like you're not hungry and you're too bloated, don't eat. It's okay, nothing's going to happen. Just drink water, electrolytes, hydrate. That's the more important thing, right? And also, one thing I've seen women benefit from is seed cycling. It helps you with the hormonal balance, basically your estrogen and progesterone. Although I'm not sure of how much evidence there is behind this, I would say on an anecdotal level, because consuming pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, sesame seeds, and flax seeds and cycling them should not kill anyone. So just I would say do it anyway. you know as if you don't have any PCOS or any other issues, just go with it, because I used to get like horrible headaches and migraines during this time, and this really helped. So it might work for you, it may not. If it doesn't, don't do it. But I think it's all about getting used to the idea of working out and eating well. you know don't I would say just don't eat out and don't go crazy. But of course you can have the calories up, add some more carbs, give some more food, so energy levels are maybe slightly higher, so you can move more.
Yeah,
So if
if
you
you have
can't do
been
weight training, cardio.
yeah, if you have been if you are kind of you don't want to go to the gym during that time, then you can definitely go for a walk. The main thing is 4 days. If you have been consistent for 28, 27 days of the month, 4 days of not going to the gym won't change anything for you. Okay, just make sure that you keep your body active. Some in some way it will definitely help you. But like she said, if it's too much, too hard to handle, because I've, my one of my ex girlfriends, she had like crazy cramps during the time, and of course, in that case you have to be smart. You don't have to exert and all that. 4 days won't change it, but if it's manageable, bearable, to go for a walk, it definitely will help you, maybe even with your mind as well. It might help you with that as well. So yeah, so I think, three things that I think a lot of people don't discuss. uh, Definitely that, the thing regarding the breast, I definitely never thought about that. That is something which you really, which you added, really I'm thankful for. And yeah, before you end, what plans you, like I said in the intro, you have a YouTube channel, right? So go subscribe to her, guys. And what's your plan, I mean, don't think too forward, what are you planning for, maybe this year, in general, what goals do you have?
Okay, so this year I'm working on a little personal project of mine. It's yeah, work wise I think it's going to be different. It's a fitness concept for another brand, but I'm very excited because it's I'm going to be part of something big, so that's something parallelly. But as far as I'm concerned, creating more content on YouTube for sure, I think, from what I've
Definitely.
learned from our last conversation. And guys,
Definitely.
for those who are about to subscribe, it's a Tamil YouTube channel, so if you understand Tamil, go ahead, subscribe. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I think the rest of it is just creating more value for the people who kind of want to associate with the work I do.
So you're not quite sure about the competing thing, are you? Do you have that in the back of your mind?
Of course I do. I think it's been there for a while now, but I can't wait to do this. It's just it's almost like I feel like I've been chasing this for a while. So I've just like let it be for now. I'm just going to wait till I get my visa and then make my next move. But yes, that's definitely on the cards.
So
So,
what you're
and like
doing,
I said,
so what you're
yeah.
doing in the gym is somehow, gym as in your workout and the dedication that you're showing, it somehow is related to the end game, right? Which is,
Absolutely. This is my off season going on. I mean,
right.
but life goes on, right? Like, for instance, like we've discussed this, that this is not something you take a loan to do bodybuilding. Like, you need to have a job, you need to have a career, you need to work towards goals. And this is something that is always a parallel show. Unless you're extremely successful, if you made it to the Olympia stage, then by all means, you can do it as a full time profession. But that is not something everyone can afford to do. That's
Is
not a
that
luxury
a
that I have.
dream? Okay, yeah, that's what you said. You luxury that you have. The question was, do you have a dream of being there on the?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely. And I feel like I have a fairly good chance. I wouldn't rule it out completely.
definitely, I
But it
definitely agree with that. You definitely,
yeah,
I'm usually I won't simply say, just because you're my guest, you're I won't say anything. But with you, I'm definitely sure you have the knowledge, you have the experience with with training, and you know your body pretty well. So definitely, if you, and like I said, I told you during the private conversation as well, that just do this YouTube thing, and definitely you'll, everything will become easy for you. People will be right behind you, and they'll push you to right to the top, and all you have to do is prep without taking any tension. So that's my my outlook towards that. Definitely, like, especially with bodybuilding, that if you have something more than just your body, there'll be so many people rallying behind you. Definitely, I'll tell you that much. Like, I know a few people who are like that, but I also know a few people who have great bodies, but unfortunately, didn't work out for them, but they are still working
you're
in the
right.
industry. But yeah, that, I know. But the worst case scenario is, if it doesn't work out after some time, just get into other in fitness, similar, in fitness, but something else. Become a coach. Okay, if you feel that you have learned a lot of things, learn more and become a coach. And that's a pretty good, and it can allow you to fund your you know,
Career.
career, right? So
Your
think of
sorry,
it
your
like that.
hobby, right? Yeah.
So according to you, just doing bodybuilding will not be enough, right?
Absolutely not.
Right.
Absolutely. If there's one takeaway from this whole conversation, it is this, that you should not just do it by itself. Please have bigger goals. This is not going to continue forever.
Correct. So yeah, thank you so much. I really enjoyed this episode a lot. Like, if you guys don't know, like, I think, how 3 days back, right? 3 days
Yeah.
back we were supposed to do this session, and I was really out of my mind. I was like sleepy. First, yeah, surprisingly, guys, I was really sleepy. Early, and I told her that, maybe can we, like, just delay it, and she was like, yeah, but we wanted to test the whole audios and everything. So we started talking. We spoke for like almost 2 hours, and I was like, maybe we should have recorded this, right? But there were a few
Yeah.
like things regarding YouTube and everything that we were discussing, which are not important. But see, here again we are, like, this is my longest out of the 3 episodes that I've done. This is my longest. I told you, right? Like, we'll just go on and on and on. So I really enjoyed it. Like, yes, 95% of the subscribers that I have are men. I mean, unsurprisingly, but at the same time, the things we shared here apply for men as well. Other than the whole three
Mm,
things, the three myths regarding women's fitness, most of the things apply to men as well. Okay, so if like she gave her message, I would like to also give a message, especially if you're young and you want to go to the top. You already should be jacked. You should look like you've been lifting for 6 7 years, especially with men,
absolutely.
right? If you're
And
19,
women. And
women
women,
also,
same thing.
okay, yeah. So if you're 19 and you look like just another Instagram model, you probably, it's not, and you're natural right now, assuming that you're natural, and good if you're natural till you're 19, 20, 21, even 22, it's good. Keep going. But if you don't look apart, right, all these bodybuilders, you can tell that they're taking steroids and all that. Look at their pictures when they're 13 years old. They look jacked. They looked 18 when they were 13, right? So some people, unfortunately, with fitness, genetics, like she said, passion, genetics, and money you can somehow make, passion you can develop, genetics, dad and mom. Okay, that's it. Okay, so not trying to, we are just trying to be real here. I am not saying this, I'm not the only one saying this. An IFBB Pro is saying this, that if you are in a situation, do you think that it's easier in USA compared to India?
In terms of frequency of shows, yes.
Definitely,
But it
right?
is more competitive as well. So
Yeah,
it's everything, you know.
yeah,
But because there every weekend there's a show.
there's a show,
Here
right?
people wait for the whole season to start
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we can't go there, you know.
And again, like, I don't know your experience with this, but I feel
Mm,
shows organized are not that professionally done. Yeah, from my experience, because I've been to a show, not the pro show. I've been to Muscle Mania. Who's scared? I'll tell honestly, that Muscle Mania. That show was organized so badly. I was so, because I took my client there, right, and he was
mm,
genuinely natural. Unfortunately, everyone else was not. And the show, they had, like you said, they combined this because of lack of time. They combined all these categories, and my poor friend standing there, 58 kgs men's physique, 5 feet 5, all his hard work, all that cardio, all the money we spent going there, staying, and for 1 week, all that, that was my experience. And I, of course, if you want to become a if you want to cut for a show, I will help you. She will definitely help you, but we'll also tell you honestly कि भाई तुमसे ना हो पाएगा अभी. टेक सम टाइम, टेक 3 years, 4 years,
yeah.
उसके बाद करो. शोज आते रहेंगे, there will be more and more shows. You just need to be ready and go with the mindset that you did your best, you have the best physique possible for that time, and then go. Okay, but if you want to reach the top by 19, if you don't look like you're 25 built, then I don't think it's right. But anyway, if you have stayed this long, I appreciate you guys. And also, since some people don't, podcast culture is still coming up, people might not watch the whole video. So what I'll also do is I'll start cutting out important sections, 3 4 minute sections, and I'll re-upload it. A good way of getting more engagement, because like I said, my friend told me one of my episodes was really boring, but then he also told me that podcasting is not my thing. Like, he doesn't like podcasting, so he told me cut it, you know cut make short clips, 3 4 minutes, and upload it, then and put a title. So there are good things that actually you learned. And also, like, I really enjoyed it. Time flew by. I don't know how it was for you. How was it like that for you as well?
Absolutely, yes. Like how it was in our last conversation. And I'm doing this after a very long time. So I was very excited to start with. And I mean, yeah, we are having a conversation for the first time in 7 years, I think, of
Yeah,
following
definitely,
each other, seven,
definitely,
8 years.
definitely. Yeah,
Uh,
this is the second
it's
time we are
great to catch
talking.
up.
Yeah, second time we are talking. And also, how can people, like, do you like do online coaching or something like that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so you
Yes.
can definitely. I'll of course leave her socials down below. If you've liked what she said and if you're looking for a coach, I would definitely recommend her, because I for a fact know. I don't, even though I don't personally know her to that extent, I definitely have been seeing her work, and the types of people she has associated herself with. That is also important in my eyes, at least. So I think she is pretty knowledgeable in that sense. So definitely, if you need help, men or women, you train men as well, right? There's nothing wrong.
I train more
uh,
men than women,
men
honestly.
than men, right? So definitely, catch up with her. And I'm also here to help. So being under the right guidance early on is really important. Not just as a coach or anything, but anyone in the gym, some random guy in the gym, find, make sure your associations, especially if you want to get into this industry, make sure your associations are right. And also, don't depend too much on other people to make a name for yourself. You can be a one man army in this industry, I promise you guys. But at the same time, there's nothing wrong in taking help from others. Okay, so with that, I would like to end this episode, long and nice episode. And subscribe to my channel, subscribe to her channel, follow her on Instagram, then come and follow me on Instagram if you haven't followed. And check my website, shreeskamath.com. She'll have a website soon. I said it right here.
Thank you.
Okay.
So, no pressure.
Yeah, no pressure, right? So yeah, thanks a lot, guys. I'll see you again. Peace. Bye. Bye.
Bye.